Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this live today. Hop into the chat, say hello. Let me know where you're logging in from. Is this your first time on live with me? Today, I've got a really good talk specifically about abundance and manifestation. So, if there's something that you're really wanting to call in, if you are on the in the middle of the meditation challenge on manifest and miracle flow that I've been dropping, third one dropping tomorrow, this is going to be an added little bonus or support for the meditation challenge. My name is Mariah. I have been running this YouTube channel for a little over a year. It is something that I'm extremely proud of. I am extremely proud of the quality of my content and extremely proud of the people I've been attracting in my little Minty community. So, if that is you, speaking directly to you, thank you so much for being here. And I'm so appreciative of you. This is a creative endeavor that I've really enjoyed, and thank you. Getting into our talk today, I'm going to start it off with some reflection questions. But before we do that, let's just take a deep breath in, filling our lungs completely, being open and receptive to this talk today. And on the exhale, tracing our exhale from the crown of our head all the way down to our toes. Another deep breath in, filling our lungs completely, being open and receptive to this talk today. And on the exhale, tracing our exhale from the crown of our head all the way down to the soles of our feet. One more time, big breath in, filling your lungs completely, and on the exhale, relaxing into this present moment, grounding yourself here, coming away from your day, your week, your month, your year. Welcome, 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 welcome to this talk, and let's get into it. I'm going to throw some of these reflection questions into the chat. That way you have it concrete. If you're a journaler, this is going to be perfect for you. All right. First question. What are you wanting more of out of life or wanting to call in? What are you wanting more of out of life or wanting to call in? Question number 2. What is that vision or desire requiring you to let go of in order to make room for it? What is that vision or desire requiring you to let go of in order to make room for it? Number 3, what person would you be with this vision or desire manifested? How will it change you? What person would you be with this vision manifested? And how will it change you? Number 4, what beliefs do you have about the people who have or embody what you want? What beliefs do you have about the people who have or embody what you want? And what I love about starting off with reflection questions is it makes the information just a lot more digestible because the answers that you have with these questions is going to pertain so in such a dovetail way to the content that we're going to be talking about today. We're going to be referring back to these questions. So your answers are already telling us a story here. Just through these 4 questions, I'm already getting a sense of, okay, how clear are you on your vision? Is it something that's very general, or do you feel comfortable going specific? Number 2, this is getting into the resistances and blocks behind what you're wanting to call in. So, what's it wanting you to let go of? What are you grasping on or holding on to that's in place of the new thing that you want to call in? Number three, what person would you be if this vision or desire was manifested? And it's great to come up with all of these positive things, but are there any fears here? Is it going to change you in any particular way that you're afraid of? And is that creating a block or a resistance towards calling it in? And lastly, what beliefs do you have around the people who have or embody what you want? This is getting a sense of what it means to be abundant or wealthy, what people have to do in order to be abundant, wealthy, successful. So these four answers here gives you a lot of data and paints a picture of what's at your foundation today. If you are able to make things as personal to you as possible, you're going to digest the information easy. So, this is another reason of why I ask these reflection questions, because as I'm speaking, we'll refer back to them and you have an understanding of what you feel about these questions, how it pertains to your life and you and your manifestations. So, it makes the information, the content, I'm going to give you personalized in a way. Jumping into it, we're going to be talking about the nervous system. And I have three different sections here to the nervous system. Then we're going to bridge into where the nervous system and psychology meets. And then we're going to talk just about psychology, end with some tips and tricks. And I'm going to leave you with a couple of other reflection questions to sit on. So it's going to be a little bit of a jam-packed live today. But as I said, the meditations that I have in the challenge, Manifest and Miracle Flow, is going to walk you through a lot of these things. So this is just that extra little bonus for that. So if you want to practice these things in real time, you're going to want to check out the manifestations. Nervous system, first and foremost, your nervous system does not care about wealth. Doesn't care about scaling your business. It doesn't care about success. It has one focus and one focus only, and that is to keep you safe. So it will constantly bring you back to what is safe and what's familiar for your survival. And you can get a sense of how your body tells you that it is dysregulated, because your body keeps score and it never forgets. So what is your body? How does your body tell you that it's stressed out, that your nervous system is dysregulated? Maybe you are tensing or notice a stiffness in your muscles. Maybe you're holding your breath or breathing shallow. Maybe emotionally you're feeling flatness or numbness, constantly exhausted, fatigued, riddled with anxiety. How does your body tell you it's dysregulated? Now, what dysregulates the nervous system? Any state of fear will do it. Any state of fear. And maybe you're like, I'm not really afraid of a lot of things, but comparison, it's a fear state. Lack mentality, scarcity, there's not enough, is a fear state. Feelings of inadequacy or not being enough is a fear state. Inauthenticity, doubt, worry, these are all going to be fear states. And maybe one particular thing isn't enough to trigger a stress response that dysregulates your nervous system. But many of them accumulated over the course of a day, many micro triggers can trigger the stress response as they stack up on top of one another. So, getting a sense of how your body communicates that it's dysregulated, getting a sense of what dysregulates your nervous system. And that is all kind of encompassed in this initial talk about how the nervous system only cares about keeping you safe. Number two, the nervous system works from a place of memory. So, experiences that happened in the past that told your nervous system what's safe and what isn't. And remembering that even if something is traditionally not safe, not safe traditionally, the familiarity of it can feel safe because you know how to deal with it. So we talked a little bit about this on a live, specifically about nervous system. And we talked about poverty, right? There are elements of poverty that can feel unsafe. But if success, wealth, fame, whatever it may be, feels more scary, then poverty. If the unknown feels like a bigger threat than the known does, poverty, then your nervous system is going to constantly say, hey, this is a threat. These things that I'm trying to manifest, call into my life, success, wealth, wellness, whatever. If it's experiencing that as a threat, it will always bring you back to the safety of the familiar, of the known, of what it knows, of whatever it knows what to do with. And you can think about different types of threats in regards to abundance. Maybe it's spiritual people can't be wealthy. Wealth comes from greed. Wealthy people have way too much responsibility and spotlight. Everyone's always talking about how terrible wealthy people are. I feel bad. My parents had to struggle, and so therefore I have to struggle with them. Big for immigrants. I'm not good with money. Money hates me. I hate what money does to people. The typical money corrupts. So bridging into from the nervous system into psychology, let's talk a little bit about the brain, where the brain meets with the nervous system. During fight or flight, the brain prioritizes survival. And so the prefrontal cortex, the parts of the brain responsible for higher order thinking, planning, creativity, they go offline. The resources shifts away from slow, analytical, creative thinking towards fast, reflexive survival actions. And so in fear, it limits your ability to access certain neural kind of brain networks to imagine, create, and see the big picture. And these are key elements of manifestation. You can't create in a state of fight or flight, in a state of fear, which is comparison, lack mentality, scarcity mindset, these things that we talked about before. So, how can we get our mind and body into the state of relaxation, into the state of regulating our nervous system so that parts of our brain that are key elements of manifestation can come back online? For visualization, which is an important part of manifestation, also for the nervous system, visualization is something that not only do you see in almost all meditations, lots of my meditations, but it's something that has been rooted in our culture since the dawn of time through storytelling, right? Using our imagination, visualizing the elements of the story. As we grow up, we watch movies, we watch TV shows, we read books, and meditations, right? Include them. So, using this tool, why is it so beneficial? Because in manifestation through visualization, we're practicing the version of ourself receiving that abundance. From a nervous system standpoint, we're creating a memory. Therefore, it's becoming more and more familiar, and we're feeling more and more safe with it. So we can see ourselves. We feel that it is safe to receive the desires, the manifestations that we want to call in, and we know what to do with it. We've practiced being in that state. Oh, it's not scary, actually. I can steep in the state of receiving. I'm not afraid to. My nervous system is regulated here. Interesting thing about the subconscious mind, speaking of psychology, is that your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is real and what is not. Whatever your mind gives, whatever experience your mind gives your body will take that as real. Your subconscious mind will take that as real. That's why it's really important to bring intention to the content that you're absorbing with movies, literature, whatever it may be, social media. And because the subconscious mind does not know what is real and what is not, we can use that to our advantage. So if we put the subconscious mind into the state of really receiving and embodying that thing that we want to call in. The subconscious mind doesn't know the difference. And we're creating new thought grooves. And the more we think this, the more we steep in this state, the more familiar it gets. And the deeper the memory, the deeper the thought grooves. It's easier to get from point A to point B. Visualization is such a key component, and that's the psychology behind it. Deeper into psychology, we can change what we notice, changing our reality. Really, our reality is just a collection of evidences around us. We can change what we notice with confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is really the brain just looking for evidence to confirm a bias. That's all it is, but it's extremely powerful. You can take a look at what biases you have and notice what evidence you're using to confirm that bias. Vice versa. You can also see what is jumping out at you in life, what you're honing in on, and trace it back to what bias it's confirming. So let's take one of these biases we had talked about before, right? Maybe the bias is spiritual people can't be wealthy. Wealthy people have too much responsibility and spotlight. I'm not good with money. I hate what money does to people. Money corrupts. Let's take wealth comes from greed. If we take this bias, wealth comes from greed. The funny thing about the universe is that, or life in general, is that it has evidence to confirm everything. You can confirm any bias because there is enough content, enough experiences out there to be confirmed. So if we have a negative confirmation, which is wealth comes from greed, we're going to find evidence of that. And we're going to see it in all the billionaires that are making and wasting tons of money at the expense of us, while I have people in my backyard struggling to make ends meet and to put food on the table. If I have a bias that wealth comes from greed, I'm also going to notice, let's say, a boss or a CEO of a company I work for, making cuts to employees to maximize profit. So we don't have PTO, we don't have any kind of benefits, yet the company is thriving, booming, and doubling in its revenue. Those things are all true. Let's say those things are all true. Those things are experiences. Yet there are also experiences where wealth comes from humanitarian efforts, right? So, what do we notice in life? What evidences are we honing in on? And we can trace that back to what we're confirming. And it's the same with abundance. If there are certain things that you are noticing throughout your life in regards to abundance, what's the narrative that it's trying to confirm? Our mind psychologically is always going to be looking for evidence to confirm a bias. So maybe we're confirming money struggles, how difficult it is to make money versus the abundance that's constantly around me at all the time. Maybe we're confirming how much life sucks versus how many things had to work out in perfect timing, not only throughout our entire ancestry, but our entire evolution in order for you to be here right now. Maybe instead of health complications, focusing on how many organs are working in perfect condition, in perfect function, without you even being aware of it, without you even thinking about it. And that's not to mention your digestive system, your reproductive system, your endocrine system, your nervous system, so many systems, circulatory system. So, what can we do with this confirmation bias? Well, we have to rewrite the bias that we're confirming. How can we rewrite the bias? Maybe instead of spiritual people can't be wealthy, I have to release all my possessions. We rewrite the bias to say a lot of wealth in the right hands could shift the world for the better. Maybe instead of wealth comes from greed and wealthy people have too much responsibility and spotlight, We can rewrite it to say, I am safe to receive abundance and I'm developing the skills to hold the responsibilities and recognition that comes with that. Maybe instead of money hates me, money comes back to me tenfold. Any dollar I spend comes back to me tenfold. Maybe instead of, I feel bad that my parents or the people around me had to struggle, so I feel I must struggle with them. Every underprivileged ancestor before me wants abundance for me and wants it to be easy. So if we change our beliefs, our biases, we can change what evidences we notice, which shifts our reality because our reality is just really a collection of all the evidences around us that we notice. And if we shift our reality, we can step into a new identity that feels safe enough to receive the amount of abundance we want to call in. I'll say that again. If we can change our biases, we shift what we notice, meaning we shift our reality, and we can step into a version of us that feels safe enough to call in the amount of abundance we want to receive. And so you can ask yourself, how do I feel safe enough to receive? What are the tips to regulate our nervous system awareness, right? How is my body telling me that it's not safe? What are my stress responses here? Our breath is a huge feedback loop because it's sending messages from the mind to the body and then back from the body to the mind that everything is safe, that we're okay. Just the power of breath lowers your stress response, your heartbeat slows, and also psychologically, you wouldn't be taking deep breaths if you were in the forest with a lion. So it's telling your mind and body these deep subconscious communication little pieces that it is safe. We are safe. Also, movement, shaking off the energy, going for a walk, doing yoga or a workout, bringing yourself into the present moment, using your senses to ground you. Maybe 5 things you can touch, 4 things you can see, 3 things you can hear, 2 things you can smell, 1 thing you can taste, whatever it is. Using aromatherapy, even. If you're wanting something more substantial, inner child work, actively working on the experiences in childhood that made you believe certain things about yourself today, about abundant people, about what you have to do, be in order to be successful or abundant. Maybe it's something as practical as financial literacy. If you're really afraid of money, getting time to learn about it, to understand, oh, it's not this monster in the closet. It's really just a high yield savings account and Roth IRAs or retirement accounts or investments, right? But at the end of the day, knowing that we can't force ourselves to relax, but we can train our mind and body to. So maybe it's setting timers, checking in with your body and doing your favorite regulating practice. Maybe it's every time there's an ad when you're watching social media, rather than allowing that to rope you back into consuming, taking a moment to summarize what you just watched, to tap into your body. How does my body feel? What is my body telling me it feels after indulging in this content? Am I really stressed out? How can I use this time to regulate my nervous system, come back to center? Um, you can also practice regulating your nervous system in low stakes and slowly raising the stakes. So, practicing your nervous system just on YouTube, watching a video of people climbing buildings. Let's say your fear is heights. You can watch that, notice what your body is communicating to you. We're dysregulated. And then taking time to use your favorite regulating practices to calm your nervous system back and working your way up to slowly, maybe even public speaking. The moment before you get on the stage, your body's telling you, oh, we're really freaked out right now. How can I bring reassurance, calm my nervous system, bring myself back to homeostasis? And the interesting thing about every time you are dysregulated, your nervous system's dysregulated, immediately practicing a regulating trick or tip, you're building a thought groove and a thought pattern. So you'll get to the point, the more that you do dysregulated to practicing regulation, the deeper the groove, and it'll be easier to get from point A to point B. And you'll start doing it subconsciously because your mind already knows, okay, that thought groove is really slick. I know the moment that my body starts to feel this way, I've trained myself to not only pick up on it and to read the language of my body, which many of us don't know how to read the language of our body. That's a big part of my life's work. Read the language of our body and regulate it, calm it. Right now, what we do when we're emotionally dysregulated is disassociate. So we will go to our phones, we will go to anything that distracts us from how we feel about our body rather than saying, our body is feeling this certain type of way. And I have the tools and the skills to get it from point A to point B, from a state of stress to a state of profound relaxation. And I can do that enough times to where that thought pattern, that groove, is so oiled up and slick that I'm doing it subconsciously, relaxing myself. Then you'll notice that you can get yourself in that state of relaxed vigilance. You are alert and lively, but your nervous system is calibrated. So I'm just doing a quick little summary before I end you with some reflection questions. We talked about reflection questions at the starting to ease you into this conversation about what do you want to call in. What are you needing to let go of in order to make room for it? What person would you be if this was manifested? And what beliefs do you have around the people who have what you want? We talked about the nervous system, that it doesn't care about wealth, it only cares about keeping you safe, that it works from a place of memory. How can we create memories of things that don't exist now that we're calling in to make that feel safe? We can do that through visualization, which is a key point in manifestation. We talked about how when the nervous system experiences a threat, it will always bring you back to the safety of the familiar. We talked about confirmation bias and how to change what you notice through confirmation bias. How can we change our biases and then find new positive things to confirm that and use the way that our mind naturally works for manifestation? We also talked about how to keep those key parts of your brain for manifestation online, right? The creative, seeing the big picture, higher order thinking, planning aspects of your mind go dormant when you're in fight or flight. How can we relax our nervous system, tell it it's safe to receive, tell it it's safe to just be here and exist, so that those parts of our mind needed for manifestation come back online? We rewrote some of these fear-based biases into new ones that can benefit our manifestations. And we talked about different types of regulating tips. How do I feel safe enough to receive? Awareness, breath, movement, bringing yourself into the present moment, inner child work, and financial literacy. And we also talked about different tips and tricks we can do to practice regulating our nervous system and even bringing that into higher stress situations to deepen that thought groove, that pattern more, getting ourselves into that state of relaxed vigilance. Final reflection questions if you love to journal. What limiting beliefs do you have around money, success, abundance? What beliefs do you have about wealthy people? How or do these limiting beliefs still protect or benefit you? Big one there. What about your desires is triggering your stress response? Does what you're manifesting and calling in feel like a threat? What do you feel safe enough to receive? And how can you feel safe to receive more? Lastly, what kind of commitments can you make to your nervous system today? If you really like this content, feel free to check out my meditations. It is Manifest and Miracle Flow. It's a 3-part meditation challenge to really get you into the states that we're talking about to regulate your nervous system. The first meditation, which is out right now, dropped on Tuesday, is all about getting clear on your vision. The second one is going to be about releasing any fears, blocks, or resistances that you have in regards to that. And the third is all about steeping in the receptive mode, which drops tomorrow. So feel free to check those out. I genuinely believe that as long as you just remove the blocks and resistances and get clear in your vision, your energy will naturally align to what you're passionate about, to what your dreams are, to what you want. And if we can get you to remove those blocks, get back into your natural state, it'll feel like going downstream. Alignment is going to be a lot more easy. And each path has a way that is difficult and has a way that is easier. The receptive mode is all about finding the path that feels easy and naturally aligned. So that's what the 3-part meditation challenge is all about. As I said, the first 2 are out right now. You can check them out right now. And the third one is going to drop tomorrow. But you have this indefinitely. It will always be there for you. So if there's multiple things that you want to call in, multiple things that you want to work on, you can receive the full benefits of this challenge. Again, my name is Mariah. I am the creator of Mint Mind. This is kind of my little service to humanity, a way in which I love to give back. And so if there's anything that you are needing from my little platform here, feel free to hop into the comment section or comment on any of my meditations of what you're needing. I'm going to try and do lives more frequently, but I'm just wishing you lots of love, many hugs and kisses for Mental Health Awareness Month. May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and I want to be here to support you every step of the way. Much love, and I'll see you in the next live.